Wednesday. Is this thing working now? Hi there, it's Wellness Wednesday. I'm Chris Regan. I hope you are well. Maybe I should start again because the clock's only just started. This live machine producer is rubbish, Facebook. So hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm the Wellness Poet. Thanks for joining me for my Wellness Wednesday live. And I just noticed that my hair is not looking particularly hot this morning, and I should have booked my stylist to come over, but she's busy at the moment. So it is what it is. And speaking of style, my 2-year-old decided this morning that she would dress herself. And the clothes that I chose for her and her dad chose for her ended up dispatched to the floor. And she chose her Emma Wiggle pajamas. And so when she came to me with her Emma Wiggle pajamas in her hand, which were clean from the cupboard, she said, "Please, Mum, help me." And when your child says, "Please, Mum, help me," even if they want to wear their pajamas to school, to daycare, you start to think that, maybe encouraging their sense of identity is just as important as them looking respectable to go. So she's gone to school happily in her Emma Wiggle pajamas, which she is very, very cute. So you can forgive her for what she wears, but they're clean, so that's what's important. So today's Wellness Wednesday live really is focused on a concept, and my camera's jumping around a little bit, so I apologize if you're seeing some jumpiness. I'm not sure what is going on. We'll see how this pans out. So the concepts for today, a couple of things really. One is around time scarcity, and I have suffered with time scarcity mindset for many years, probably more than a decade, and I think it was one of the contributing factors which led to me suffering with burnout. And time scarcity is a mindset that causes us to neglect our priorities that fall outside what's immediately in front of us. So it can cause you to ignore non-urgent stuff or stuff that you perceive to be non-urgent, like your health, your relationships, reading, reflection, or exercise, or all of those things that are actually intrinsically good for you. You start to neglect them because they're not within your immediate frame of reference. And if you have a very busy job that is deadline driven or project related, you're often living your life in the future with a rush to achieve all those objectives in order to get to the end goal. And that can kind of exacerbate the situation because, I worked on the Olympics, and the Olympics is classic for having a countdown clock. So when you have a countdown clock, you're very conscious of how many days to go, how many hours to go, how many minutes to go. And it kind of became a little bit of a theme, 500 days to go, 300 days to go, 200 days to go. And that actually not, for those who are competing, obviously it would be building excitement. For those that are working, it actually builds anxiety. And you start to kind of think, oh my God, we're never going to get everything done. And then you might have challenges or obstacles thrown in on top of you. And so your sense of time and your sense of urgency just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I recognized that as something that was a huge impact in my life now with reflection. But also I know as a busy mum and a working mum that this can still play a part in how we live our life and how we operate on a day-to-day basis, because it's very easy to feel time poor. And when we feel time poor, we start to make unhealthy choices, unfortunately. And some of those unhealthy choices can be that we give up exercise, that we eat out more, or we choose convenience food over home cooking, that we're rushing and we have anxiety, so therefore we don't sleep as well, and we sleep less, so then we're more tired. So then it becomes like this whole vicious cycle and a self-fulfilling prophecy where we actually feel that we have even less time. And one of the things about that is mentally, it's challenging for us, and also physically it sets us back, and then we start to develop chronic illnesses and autoimmune diseases and so on and so forth. And also it's kind of the fast track way to getting a chronic illness such as cancer. So, that kind of stress and anxiety that we live with, or this rushing around syndrome or a time scarcity mindset, can breed a whole host of other health and well-being issues that you're not necessarily in touch with at the time, because you're just existing and you're just getting on with the next thing. And it does change a lot, the choices that you make, and when you start to think about, okay, what am I going to have for dinner? When do I have time to cook? When do I have time to shop? Now there's a couple of different ways that you can organize your life in order to make those that impact of time scarcity less. And repetition of tasks is something that's quite common as a mum, making the lunch boxes, tidying the kitchen, all those repetition of tasks actually throughout the week, they build up. But the other thing that I have found, and two things that have really helped me, is to know in advance and decide in advance that you have X amount of time to complete this task. So if it's a work task or a task at home, setting yourself X amount of time to complete the task, and you go into it with focus, tunnel vision to get that task completed in that set time, you'll be more focused and driven on the outcome that you want to achieve. If you go into that task thinking, I don't have time to do all this, there's so much to do, I'm never going to get this done, you become paralyzed with the time scarcity mindset. And time scarcity mindset actually leads to inactivity, lack of productivity, and also it leads to us feeling as though, regardless of how good we are, we're never going to do it. And I've said before that when we're stressed, we're 40% dumber. So time scarcity adds that element of stress. So you're not going to be efficient or focused or crystal clear in your thinking if you're going into these tasks feeling as though you are unable to achieve them in the time that you have. So being very clear in your mind to say, I have X amount of time to get this task done and I'm going to achieve it in that time. And you will be really, really surprised that you actually often finish with a few minutes to spare. And the other thing that I adopted in my mindset was that there is enough time for me to achieve all that I desire, because then I have an abundance mindset when it comes to time, because taking away all the stresses of the myriad of 1,000,001 things I need to do and achieve, I've decided that there is an abundance of time for me and there's enough time to decide to achieve all that I desire. So those two simple shifts in the way that I thought and felt, so that I have X amount of time to complete this task. So tax return is a great example. You look at your tax return, you think this is going to take me days and days and hours to do it. But actually you say, I have 2 hours to complete my tax return. You sit down and you bang, and 2 hours is gone, or an hour and a half is gone. You think, God, that was so easy. It took me an hour and a half instead of 2 hours. I've now got 30 minutes to spare. So it can be really little bit more strict about how we think about time and how we manage time, and having that abundant mindset, because once you start to embrace the abundant mindset, all of those little things that caused frustration before are much easier to find the time to do them, because you know that you have an abundant amount of time to achieve all that you desire. And the key thing then is to decide, what is it that I desire? So in my case, I desired to write a book. So how then do I organize my life and create my abundance mindset around time in order to raise 2 small kids, have a part-time job working from home, manage a household, and to write a book? So I had an abundance time mindset around the time that I had to do it. And also I wrote down that my book is written. And once I wrote down my book is written, I knew the book was already written. I just had to set aside some time when I would physically write it. So those are 2 simple hacks to change the time scarcity mindset that we all live with. And just to be very clear, a time scarcity mindset will cause you to make unhealthy choices in what you eat, what you think, how you behave, and physiologically as well, by putting your body under a lot of stress that you don't need to have to be under. And so the reverse of the time scarcity mindset is what I like to call a wellness mindset. And I typed up this really simple graphic. It's my 10 steps to a wellness mindset. And I'll just read out a couple of them. So what is a wellness mindset? Number one, what can I do to look after myself this week? So you might be on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can ask yourself this question: what can I do to look after myself this week? Number two, when can I schedule exercise into my week? Now, as you may have seen yesterday from video on my personal page, when I kicked a goal yesterday, I rewarded myself with a healthy treat, which was actually going for a run, having a glass of kombucha. So, these are kind of some healthy treats that you can reward yourself with, as opposed to unhealthy treats, which we often turn to. What will I fuel my body with this week? So I like to think of the schedule activities and the ad hoc activities, which you can use as treats. And then what are you going to fuel your body with? So when you're looking in your pantry, you're looking in your fridge, think, what's nutritional? What am I going to fuel myself with? When am I going to consume it? How am I going to? Because by asking yourself those questions and looking at your fridge and pantry with that mindset, you then start to look at all the things that you actually want to nourish your body with, as opposed to the stuff that you're going to stuff in your face when you're too busy and your time's scarce. When will I make time to relax and unwind? And that's a really difficult one for a lot of parents, because often our relaxation and unwinding time is when our kids are running around crazy, and trying to sit down and have a cup of tea on your own without being interrupted 15,000 times is sometimes nigh impossible. But choosing those moments, and for me now it's when the kids go to bed and I can kind of go to my relaxation island, and I'll have my 30 minutes to relax and unwind before at the end of my day. Number 5 is, what can I do just for fun this week? And that's really important. And sometimes those just for fun moments can be ad hoc and spontaneous, or sometimes they can be something that you do plan in advance, because it's really important for mums and for dads and for working people to still have a mindset of fun. Because if you have a mindset of fun, you're more inclined again to seek healthy fun as opposed to unhealthy fun. And number 6, what time will I go to bed this week? So that's really important. And at the moment, if you're spending more time working from home, your probably bedtime routine, because you don't have to get up and commute in the morning or whatever, is getting later and later, and you start to then fall into an unhealthy habit of not having a kind of set bedtime where you relax and unwind. And that's important for many, many reasons, because when we sleep, there's certain chemicals in our brain that gets discharged into our lymphatic system, and that allows our brain to rest and repair and send healthy signals around our body to repair itself. So sleep is very, very important, not just for recharging your body, but to clear this channel inside our brain, which needs to be dumped of the toxins that have built up there throughout the day. And spending a lot of time on your computer or with your phone stuck in your face is not necessarily healthy for helping that channel clear those toxins. So those are just 6 from my top 10. I'll post the top 10 in the bottom of this live, my Wellness Wednesday. What is a wellness mindset? I'd like to encourage you to think about a wellness mindset in light of the fact that you may, as I did and have in the past, lived with a time scarcity mindset where you're always rushing. There's never enough hours in the day, and how can I get everything done? Because once you realize you're living with time scarcity as opposed to time abundance, that's a huge mental shift in mindset, which allows you to achieve more, be more laser focused in what you're doing, to have clearer objectives, and to be more effective and more efficient in what you're actually doing. So those are my hints and tips for today to help you achieve and be as happy and healthy as you can. So thank you for watching, and I'm wishing you a healthy, well day, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.